This is my review of the Sony A7. I got mine from Lumoid.com. Check them out if you're curious about exploring cameras like this. They rent, and as you rent, you can actually earn credits towards buying. Prices start at just $5 a day to rent. There's a link right down below this video to check them out. So, I spent a long weekend with this camera. It is a full-frame mirrorless camera from Sony. Shoots 24 megapixels. It's the little brother to the Sony A7R, which shoots 36 megapixels, and the very newly announced Sony A7S, which shoots just 12. That's really targeted at your video folks, and then the 4K capabilities for video is really what it's all about. So let me talk about what I love about this camera. First thing is the size of the camera. Look at how little it is and light, but it still feels pretty good in the hand. Look at what I usually carry around that gives me about the same quality. It's a lot heavier, much heavier. So these are two full frame cameras, 35mm lens, 35mm lens. Now to be fair, this is a 1.4 from Sigma on here, and this is a 2.8 from Zeiss. So there's slightly different capabilities, but it gives you an idea. That's a heavy camera. Beautiful image quality, beautiful performance, but do we still need to carry it around when something like this is out, which provides, well, I don't want to spoil the full review, but yes, the same amount or the same image quality. It's just gorgeous. We'll talk more about that in a minute. It actually fits into my jacket pocket. It's pretty sweet. Now, there are some sacrifices to be made. We'll get to those at the bottom of this list, but let's hit all of the highlights here in a minute. Pros, already mentioned, already kind of gushed about it. The image quality out of this full frame sensor is lovely. On par with the 5D Mark III. Ran them through ISO tests. You can see some samples here. This is a professional level camera. That's another pro. And it's got features in here that support that, starting at $1,700. So that's about $1,200 less than the 5D Mark III. So there are features like the Autofocus Micro Assist. There are fun features like the panorama. It's got the sweep, click, 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 where it stitches them all together in the camera. It's got scene modes, effect modes. You know, some of those are a little silly. A lot of those you can do better in post-processing, but they're all in there. And then there's a whole host of features supporting videographers. One of the really nice things about this camera is on the side, it has mic in. That's pretty standard on a lot of cameras, but it's also got a headphone jack for monitoring audio right on this camera. Very, very nice. It's also feature packed on the outside. There are tons of manual controls, almost too many, dare I say, and tons of customizable controls. I think there's up to 9 of these buttons back here and up here and around here can be customized to do something you want. So you can really dial this camera in to get the kind of performance and the setup that works for you. Now, Sony claims that it is weather sealed, so it must be to some degree. I don't see that everywhere. You look at the little memory card door and it's not quite, there's no rubber gasket there, but you know, there is some sealing there if they're saying it, so that's nice at least for keeping out dust and maybe some moisture. Now the A7, without the S or the R, actually offers a hybrid focus of both contrast detection and phase detection. And that is nice. You got to make sure you turn that phase detection on, because with just the contrast, it can be a little on the slow side. With the phase detection turned on in that center area, you can move that around too. It's better. This isn't the fastest focusing machine out there. It does not really hold up well against something like a true DSLR. I wouldn't want to take it to the racetrack or any other kind of fast action. You're probably going to miss a lot of shots. But it's not terrible. And again, the image quality from this little teeny camera is great. I mentioned the A7R briefly because it only offers the contrast detection. It doesn't offer the phase detection on that 36 megapixel sensor, so that's something to keep in mind. One of the other things I love about this camera, and this is becoming kind of almost standard, but I still don't see it in the higher end Canon cameras, is the connectivity options. I take a picture, oh, I took a bunch, and I press playback to see that picture, and swipe my phone across the little NFC chip right there. I have a little green thing, and there they go. They're being copied over, just like that. That was it. All I hit was playback, drag my phone, and waiting. There's the picture. Pretty snazzy. that is nifty. And you can set that up. There's more robust options. You can use your phone as a camera remote and see live view and have all of those things in there. That's nice as well. Now, a lot of good things we just said about this camera. There are a lot of good things to say about it. Let's talk briefly about some of the downsides, because it's not perfect. The lens selection. So Sony's got a roadmap right now. We're going to see more lenses down the road, and there's a decent kit lens, and there's things like these nice Sony Zeiss lenses, 35, 55, but there aren't a ton of lenses. You can throw on older NEX lenses designed for crop sensors, and then the camera will be smart enough to say, oh, well, I need to crop your image in to avoid that black circle around the edge. But not a whole lot of selection, and you lose some resolution in there as well. But what you can do is there are a host of adapters out there. My favorite is the Metabones E to EF mount. It goes in here, really nicely made. A nice bonus of this adapter, there's a lot of adapters out there, but not all of them offer this full connectivity. You don't lose aperture control. You still have autofocus with a catch. You still have image stabilization. All of that works very nicely. So I had a blast, because I do have a pile of Canon lenses. I had a blast throwing on the Sigma, the 70-200. Now the downside is focus is slow. No image quality degradation, really, really nice. There's no glass in the adapter. It's just a complete electronic pass-through. And that's one of the nice things about these mirrorless cameras is you don't have to worry about mirror to sensor to rear element distances and all of that junk. You can throw on these different adapters and they work nicely, very nicely. Now, one of the pros that I just kind of touched on, and I actually should have hit more, is all of the support and features surrounding manual focus. Really, really nice. It's got focus peaking. It's got magnification. All of that works really, really well. When you throw on that adapter, of course, that all becomes extra useful so that you can do that zoom in to ket focus, because sometimes you'll find that manually focusing when you're using an adapter like that is even better than actually trying to rely on the autofocus when you're using an adapter. Now, one big downside is battery life. So I can happily go out into the woods and go for a hike and shoot 1,000 photos or so with something like the 5D Mark III before I have to start worrying about battery life. We're down around 300 with this little Sony and this little Sony, I think it's the NW50 or WP50 battery. Battery life isn't great. Now remember, when a mirrorless camera, we have no optical viewfinder. Electronic EVF in here, or electronic viewfinder, and of course the LCD. Both of those are constantly drawing power. One of the things is that this viewfinder up here is a little eye sensitive, and you'll see it go off as it thinks I'm bringing my eye up to that. Your battery life actually decreases using the electronic viewfinder. That draws a little bit more power, apparently, than the LCD does. So you're going to want to get some spare batteries. It comes standard with a little plug and just that micro USB charger, which is nice. If you've got cell phones around, you have plenty of these chargers, you can charge it up. But it charges up in camera, so no external battery charger. So one of the first things I would suggest you buy, if you're ordering this camera, is go ahead and buy an external battery charger along with a spare battery as well. One other little kind of niggly point is that this record button is awkwardly placed out here on the side. It's kind of hard to get to, and I'll be honest, it took me a while to find it. I was like, where is the record button? Because I'm not used to looking for buttons over off on the side of the camera. So I'll have some image samples up again. Overall, really, really nice camera. $1,700. Think about throwing on an adapter. Now that is about $400. So, we are talking about spending a pile of change, but the benefit you get out of that is a really gorgeous sensor. Both photos, I've mostly been talking about photos, but the video quality out of here is gorgeous as well. It does shoot 60p at 1080 at 60p. And it's just so light. You can walk down the street with this little guy and not feel like your wrist is going to fall off after an hour or so. Whereas with the 5D Mark III, you might. Downside, the biggest downside though, is that kind of slower focus. It's not an action-oriented camera, and the battery life. If you've got any questions about whether or not you think the Sony A7 is the right camera for you, just leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to answer it. I'm going to have a few more Sony A7 videos coming out. I have one out about the Metabones adapter, so look down below this video for a link to that. And as always, I thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thanks.